Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 274. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
Pretty good.
This week on the show, we'll be doing a little bit of the year-end catch-up with a review of Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. It's been out for a minute, but I'm trying to get caught up with this year-end stuff.
Yeah.
And since it's one of the big ones, so I figured we should talk about it.
Yeah. And for, small town America, this is new.
This just came out here.
This is a new one.
We'll also be going over some we're watching on the watch list, new releases in theaters, on VOD, and on Blu-ray. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Let's just dive right into Lady Bird. So this is written and directed by Greta Gerwig. I have a synopsis here. In the early 2000s, an artistically inclined 17-year-old comes of age in Sacramento, California. Kevin, I think we'll start it with you. This stars Saoirse Ronan, Laurie Metcalf, Lucas Hedges is in there.
Yeah. He's been popping up in a lot of stuff lately, it seems.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. Tracy Letts plays the dad. So, Kevin, what'd you think of Lady Bird?
Oh, so Lady Bird, number one is I found it immensely watchable. Just I enjoyed myself. But at the same time, it seemed like that enjoyment was more so of the moment. Like as soon as the film was over and I was kind of walking out to the car, I was already forgetting large chunks of it. Like it didn't seem to have staying power. It didn't seem to stick with me. Like that hour and a half, great time in the theater, enjoyed myself. I think a thing that might have bumped it up a little bit is because it was snowing out. It was the first snow of the year. I was going to the movies, and there's just something about going to the movies in the daytime when it's snowing. Mm-hmm. It's just, to me, it's like the greatest thing in the world.
100% agree.
So they had all that's going on, right? And you come out of the movie theater, snow's still coming down, and it was a good time. But I have to admit, like I said, there's like this twinge of it's kind of forgettable in some ways. Still overall pretty solid movie, but I don't see myself kind of jumping up and down as it seems like everyone else is doing.
Yeah, it's a little curious to me. Everyone's really, really singing this movie's praises. I mean, this is landing on everybody's top tens. It's landing on number one spots on a lot of lists. Yeah. This year, and I like the movie a lot. I mean, it'll certainly be in my top 25. I thought that it was immensely good at what it was looking to do. I thought that it crafted a really heartfelt and enjoyable coming of age story. I thought that all the characters were very relatable. I thought it was a really relatable story, even though it is about a senior in high school. I saw myself in a lot of the things that she was going through, and so it was, I thought, a very relatable film in that regard. And I thought that the script was definitely on point for me too. I thought that it had the right balance of comedy and heart. I thought that there were a number of really touching moments, and I think the dynamic between Saoirse Ronan's character and Laurie Metcalf, I thought, was an amazing dynamic. You know, how these two were constantly at odds with one another, but you also kind of felt that love between them.
Well, yeah, and my favorite part of the writing is their, how in the midst of kind of getting on each other's nerves and arguing, and kind of going at each other in a split second, it can just flip to where they're being kind of happy with each other. Like that the sequence where they picked out that dress where
Right.
they're just bickering and going at each other, and they're just irritated with each other, and then split second, they're both so excited about this dress that they found.
Which is funny because you don't see that a lot in movies, but it happens in real life. I mean, that's sort of how a lot of real life relationships work with people that you're closest to, like your spouse or your brother or parents or
Yeah,
sister, that's sort of how that works in real life.
especially in that time period where it's teenager and your parents.
Right, exactly. I thought also like this took I didn't realize that this took place in the early
Well,
2000s, but
then
this is like right around,
it's just,
when
yeah,
when you and I were graduating high school
it's
and
exactly the
going
same.
through the same kind of shit.
Because I think I did read that I think Gerwig graduated 2002, so it exactly links up to
Yeah.
how it was for us. I don't know if I was watching that much 9/11 coverage as they were here.
You probably were, man. Everybody was. You couldn't avoid it.
I don't know. There's
You,
a
you
lot of
were you
channels on
were
my TV. That
I have a feeling you weren't listening to that much Dave Matthews Band. In
oh, I
fact,
sure as hell was not.
I know for a fact, since you and I were friends when we were seniors, neither of us were listening to that much Dave Matthews Band, but
It
I
was
fully
there
recognize. I mean, that was definitely
because
a product of its time.
I think I do remember seeing someone on Twitter kind of pointing that out, like, oh, I don't know if Dave Matthews Band was still, in at that time period. And I can attest to, and I'm sure you can too, uh, in our area, where the pop radio stations are always essentially like 10 years behind, that
Well,
shit was playing constantly.
yeah, I mean, it's right. That song, I don't know when that song came out, years before that, but that doesn't matter. Like that song was still relevant. Like
I mean,
people
I can
still
turn the
listen to
radio,
that song.
I can turn on the radio now, and probably from leaving my house and going to work, I'll probably hear that song now in 2017.
But it's also one of these things where, at least from what I remember, when you are graduating high school, you have this sort of nostalgia. You sort of take this nostalgic look back at your high school career, so you do sort of rehash all like some of the popular songs that you experienced in high school. So there's this little bit of a time machine element to it as well.
Yeah.
At least they didn't play that. I mean, I thought for sure they would have played the Green Day, the
Oh,
time
yes.
time of your life, because that was right around when we graduated, and man, that was everywhere. I remember when Ryan graduated, it was Vitamin C, that graduation song,
Yeah.
and then when we graduated, it was that Green Day song.
Yes. Oh my god. That was fucking everywhere. I kind of forgot about that song. I'm so happy that it wasn't in this.
I know, like I'm glad it was Crash. At least I could deal with that.
Yeah, I can definitely deal with Crash. I would have walked out if it would have been that Green Day song.
And they played it multiple times too. It's something unpredictable. Like, oh, come on.
I did appreciate the homecoming with the Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I loved that.
Because I'm sure that was Bone Thugs and Harmony's, like when they got together as a group. I'm sure that was like on their list of,
Yeah.
being successful. They're like, I really hope that we're played at homecomings at Catholic schools.
Catholic school in Sacramento.
With what was it, like a cowboy theme?
Yeah, it was a cowboy thing. Oh my god. It's so perfect because I remember it did remind me of school dances and just how
Bizarre
just how
they are.
ridiculous and weird all of them are. And
Because it's funny, because it's these adults trying to put together these things, and they're just so out of touch. Especially, I can't imagine how much more out of touch they are in a Catholic school
Right, exactly.
compared to a public school. But back to the movie. The main thing for me, I thought, was Laurie Metcalf. I thought her performance was just, I thought she was incredible.
Yeah.
That was maybe one of my favorite performances this year.
Yeah, I thought she was incredible as well.
Pretty much
A
everyone
lot.
is.
There was
Let's
just
be honest. Because even
yeah,
Tracy Letts is great. Ronan's great. Even her friend that played Julie, Beanie Feldstein, she was great too, I thought.
yeah. I loved that character. Absolutely.
Which was kind of a little bit of a bummer. Which is, I mean, it's a good part of the screenplay of like this. There's all these transitions with Lady Bird. How she has her set of friends, and then she kind of slides into the popular group, and then she comes back out. And I thought that was one thing when she kind of transitioned into the popular kids. I kind of missed that with her and Julie.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I liked so much about it is that it wasn't a big moment in the film. It was just she just sort of naturally slipped into this other group of friends, and unfortunately her current best friend was sort of neglected as a result. But they didn't make like a huge thing out of it. Like, it wasn't like she was making all these plans and really struggling to get in with the popular crowd. It just sort of, it was just a natural thing. She just went in there and she just had this new group of friends. It felt very organic, and like sort of like how it really is when you're in high school, where in high school you have different groups of friends year to year to year, a lot of times, where you'll always have like your core group of friends usually, but a lot of times you have different people that you hang out with from year to year. And especially after you graduate and you have that other big conflict of you're leaving your friends and you're moving away and going to school, or you're just not, you're going to work or whatever, and you sort of, that chapter in your life is abruptly ended. And I thought that all of that was handled in such a natural way that didn't feel as egregious as a lot of these kind of coming of age movies.
Yeah. All the characters they're pretty well written. I especially enjoy it because there's a decent amount of comedy, and my favorite part of the comedy aspect of it was the guy Kyle, and how just ridiculous he was.
He's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Kyle.
he's a total piece of shit. And you knew immediately when he's sitting there reading Howard Zinn, you're just like, kid's a douche. Know it.
Yeah, of course.
I can feel it in my bones.
You knew he was going to be a prick. I did see the Cannibal Ox poster in his room.
That's what bummed me out, though. Is he had the Cannibal Ox poster, and I was like, damn. Of course, the douchebag's one has a Cannibal Ox poster.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the storyline with Lucas Hedges too. Where that went and how she handled that. I thought that was a really nice addition. Which was sort of the thing that's so impressive about this movie, is that like there's these little side plots that are happening. There's these moments, there's these problems that are occurring in these sort of tertiary characters, these smaller characters in her story, and they're in there, and they all affect her life in different ways. But it's like this conflict that they're having is so fully realized that I just thought that every character that she interacted with had this. It just felt a lot deeper than in movies that are normally of this ilk.
Yeah, and I also like how it was handled twofold, in the sense that there's these issues that in some movies they would be turned into these big dramatic moments.
Right, exactly.
And here they're kind of smaller, but also how that plays into her character as being kind of, selfish teenager, where the reason that they're kind of muted is she's so focused on her life and what's going on with her that these remain kind of small issues.
Yeah.
She still deals with them, but they're not blown up into these big dramatic moments.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was great. I thought it was immensely entertaining and it was so well made. And Greta Gerwig, what a man.
Well, that's the other thing that, I mean, even kind of being not overly enthusiastic as, a lot of people that I've seen that, are kind of talking about this movie, still to realize that this is essentially a debut, right? Or like a solo debut, I should say.
The solo debut. She did Nights and Weekends with Swanberg, but
yeah, but just on her own,
yeah,
to have this, be the first one out the gate.
I thought it was really impressive. Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you that I wasn't as blown away as a lot of other people were with this. I thought it was a great coming of age story. I do like coming of age stories, as most people know by now anyway, but like you said, the sort of the lasting power of this, will I remember a lot of the key moments of this 2-3 years from now? Probably not.
Yeah,
because at its core, it's still just sort of your typical coming of age story. It goes through the same motions as all of them do. Really, it just does it a lot better than most of the other ones.
It's kind of this. It's still like the same formula, but
there's the same beats that occur. She gets
just better ingredients.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So to that, I just there's I don't know about you and your screening, but there was like a number, maybe it was just one specifically, but there was like somebody like in the back that was just crying like a lot during this movie.
I mean, I could see that maybe.
I don't know if that happened and if there was any tears flowing in yours.
Well, I can tell you that my theater was like 5 people.
Oh.
It's like 5 people.
Okay.
So
I was in a pretty full theater.
I would hope
it was a smaller one, but it was full. So any other thoughts on Lady Bird?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think I have anything else either. Let's give it a score. I'm gonna give Lady Bird. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
I think like a 7.5.
There you have it. Lady Bird is playing in theaters now, and I would recommend checking that out. Definitely. I don't think it's gonna crack my top 10, but definitely it'll probably make its way into the top 25.
There you go.
I mean, this has been like I haven't come even close to finalizing my list yet, but looking at what I have, this has been a really impressive year. It's one of those years that just kind of crept up on me, and I didn't really realize how strong of a year it was until I started looking back at all the releases, and I'm just like, holy shit,
See,
I think a top 10 is going to be tough for me this year.
See, for me, I think it was kind of a down year overall, but I have noticed that for me looking through a lot of these titles there's just a lot of solid like 7s and 8s.
Yeah.
There wasn't this this huge like bunch of great movies. It was just a lot of solid movies.
Yeah.
Which makes it even tough because you get like all those 7s and 8s together. They're kind of interchangeable. So it's going to be a little difficult.
Yeah, there wasn't. Well, there were a few that I thought like there's going to be probably 3 that came out that will be my top 3, like no matter what. like Florida Project. I don't think it's a giant spoiler for my list, but I don't think anything's going to top the Florida Project for me for this year. But there's a couple that. But I will agree that there were only a few for me that were just like that is a classic to me. That is a standout. I absolutely loved it. I want to endlessly rewatch that one. There weren't that many of those, but there were a lot of ones that I thought were really, really good. Anyway, that's all just foreshadowing. We'll be talking about our lists in the coming weeks.
Indeed.
For now, let's talk about some other stuff we've been watching on the watch list. So what have you been watching this week?
I watched a documentary. This was, unfortunately, it's not available anymore, but it was available for a short period of time on Festival Scope. Their free website, not the Festival Scope Pro, but the free one. So I had a selection of some documentaries, and I was able to check out Sophia Bodanowitz's Maison du Bonheur, which is shot on 16 millimeter. Now, I found out some interesting things after seeing this movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it while watching it, but I found out some things through reading an interview that she did with Justine Smith, and she got this Bolex off of eBay, right? And in the film, there's kind of like this footage of her like packing up for this trip that she's taking to Paris, and she's going to be staying with a friend's family member, and she's talking about how she's going to make a documentary there when she's there. She's not really sure what she's going to make. She hasn't figured it out yet. She's going to see what happens, going to play it by ear when she gets there. So what you find out in the interview is that was essentially like test footage to make sure that the Bolex is working and everything, but she wasn't able to get that footage processed in time. So essentially, when she goes to Paris and she's shooting this entire documentary, she has no idea if any of this is usable. So she gets there, she ends up she's living with this woman who's the subject of her documentary, Julianne, and she just decides to kind of like document her. And then essentially what happens is she kind of becomes like a collaborator with her, where each day they focus on like a facet of her life. So they just decide like, what do you want to shoot about? And she'll say, like her makeup routine, or her watering her flowers, or talking about her career as an astrologer and all this stuff. So it's all these like little vignettes. I think there's about 30 of them, of just, big and small, it's significant stuff, and just kind of all pieced together like that to kind of give you this kind of like a profile of this person, which to me is just, it worked perfectly. I thought. Definitely, if you get a chance, check it out. It's only like 62 minutes long, but breezy, just a feel-good documentary, because Julianne, the woman at the center that it's about, she's just such a nice person. Like, it's just all nice stuff. And it's kind of nice to just see a documentary about just an everyday person that's really nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So you wrote a full review for this on the site, correct? So that's up on the site right now. You can check that out. What's the name again? Maison du Bonheur? All right. So I would say just keep a lookout for that one for when it hits VOD platforms. I saw The Lure.
Ooh, okay. Now I'm really interested in this one.
So this is an odd one. Polish. It's a Polish film that is a fantasy horror musical about two mermaid sisters who are found and recruited into this nightclub act where they sing and dance and strip and become mermaids because they can take human form, but as soon as they get wet, they turn back into, like, they grow the tails back.
Yeah.
And they also eat people.
Okay.
So they do eat people.
Mm-hmm.
They're very carnivorous. They can communicate with each other sort of telepathically. It's like this, they communicate sort of the same way that dolphins do, like this sort of like sonar system.
This just sounds incredible.
It is so weird, man. I don't even know how. So I'm not a big musical guy. I don't like most musicals that I see. This one is the exception. I really enjoyed this one. It's just way too out there and too weird for me to not be into it. It's so bizarre. A lot of the music sequences are, some are sort of grounded in reality in that they're actually the musical performances that they're doing on stage.
Okay.
And then some of them are more, musical-esque, where it just all of a sudden they're breaking out into song. However, they all sort of start from some space in reality. Like they put on a song, like a record, and then they start singing, and that's what turns it into the big musical number. So there's always like something that happens in the environment that causes the music to occur, which I guess I like that more than just nonstop sing-song, because that drives me crazy. This isn't one of those musicals where it's nonstop music. I think that's another thing that put it in my favor.
I think it also helps that it's mermaids that eat people.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. It's just I can't say it enough how weird this movie is, but the music's actually really good, and I enjoyed a lot of the performances, and the story is so strange that I was kind of instantly hooked by it. And it looks awesome too, like visuals in this really kind of trippy, excellent camera work. It feels almost like a Gaspar Noé style movie where like the camera is just all over the place and they're throwing all kinds of tricks in there, but it's not obnoxious like a lot of his movies are.
Yeah, where it's kind of like a kind of show-offy.
Yeah, a lot of it feels more like a music video than, some sort of avant-garde attempt at style.
I just keep reading the synopsis, and it's... Oh, man.
Yeah, I would highly recommend this. This is on the Criterion Collection as well. One of the more strange additions to the Criterion Collection, but after seeing it, I'm just like, all right, yeah, I can see it.
I see. I like when they do this, because usually with me with Criterions, when they do the contemporary picks, they're always kind of, I want to say, safe.
Well, it's always the same. It's always the same people. It's like the Noah Baumbachs, and
that's true.
They always pick the same people for their contemporary club.
It's finally like, oh my god, what? Something else?
I mean, you can't say that this isn't a completely original movie. When you see it, you're just like, okay, well, there's nothing like this. You will never see a movie like this.
Yeah. I just wonder, do you think it's going to usher in some sort of mermaid musical people eating genre?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is way too out there for most people. For the general movie going public, this is not for them.
Not gonna happen.
No, because it is violent. There's a lot of nudity. It's very adult, but it's so weird and amazing and wonderful, and it looks so awesome, and the music is great. I highly recommend it. Just check out the lore if you can. If you can get it on the Criterion Blu-ray, that's how I would recommend seeing it, because it is such a visual movie.
Yeah. All right. That's exciting. I saw Personal Shopper,
Mm.
the latest
Okay.
from Olivier Assayas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I was kind of surprised by how ghosty this movie is. Like I didn't know it was gonna be like there's actual ghost in it.
I knew that there was a ghost element.
I
I
knew
didn't
that
know
there was
how
a ghost
heavy.
element. Yeah, no, there's like ectoplasm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay, cool, let's do it." And then there's just this long chunk in the mid. This is kind of like the centerpiece of the entire movie. Is Kristen Stewart's character is she's trying to contact her recently deceased brother. Okay, he was a medium. She thinks that she might be, so she's kind of waiting for a sign from him. And a big chunk of it is her receiving some text messages. And so this takes up a large portion of the movie. And it works and it doesn't work. And the way that it does work is that it's impressive because at this point in time, and for a large chunk of it, is just Kristen Stewart essentially co-starring with her phone and just sending and receiving text messages, which the way in which she's able to take the film onto her shoulders and just absolutely crush it during this section is just unbelievably impressive. Like the initial when she first gets text messages, she's like getting on a train, and just everything that like you see her go through acting wise is just incredible. And honestly, I don't know if there's anyone better right now that portrays uneasiness like she does.
Yeah.
She's like one of the best fidgeters
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
movies right
Because
now. Like,
she's always been like that. Even in her early roles, she's been a little like kind of nervous and
yeah,
twitchy.
and just like her hands shaking, and she's receiving these messages and sending them, and it's incredible. But the reason that it doesn't kind of work is, well, at least for me, is that immediately from the outset, like this whole thing was transparent to me, and it was just like, okay, this is on a narrative level, it's not working at all because there's where it ends up going and there's the twist and everything. It's just none of it worked for me, and it seems to try and get into some things with the afterlife and like her wanting to be a different person and all this stuff. And I, it just felt really thin to me. They just they don't really explore anything, and it
Mm.
just all kind of falls apart. But again, it's one of those things where her performance is unbelievable. Huge reason to watch it. Everything else is just kind of eh.
Okay. And that's Personal Shopper. Another big one that I'm seeing pop up on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
I saw Mudbound, directed
Okay.
by D. Reese. I don't have a whole lot to add from what you said. When was that? Last week or the week
Yeah.
before? I enjoyed this movie. I didn't think it was anything amazing or special. I thought that the performances were great, which is, Garrett Hedlund. I haven't seen him in anything that he hasn't really blown me away yet. And then this movie, I thought he really knocked it out of the park. Same with Jason Mitchell.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought he was really incredible. Looks wise, I thought that the movie looked really, really nice. Cinematography, I thought, was really good in this. But other than that, I don't have a lot to say. I think that it is worth a look, especially because it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think that it's an important film. I think that it's one of these movies that should be seen by as many people as possible. But other than that, I just thought it was
It's
kind of
fine.
average.
Yeah, it's kind of fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Like I don't have a lot of negative criticism with it, but there wasn't anything that really kind of blew me away.
Yeah, I definitely hear you with that. That's kind of what I felt about it too.
And
Especially like the further away I get from it, the more space that's generated between when I saw it. You know,
yeah, a lot of
it just
voiceover in it that didn't really. I thought that some of it was insufferable.
Yes, yes. I kind of forgot about that when I mentioned it last week, which is odd because it's usually the first thing out of my mouth
Yeah.
is mentioning that. But yeah, that was bad. That was really bad.
But anyway, that's Mudbound. It's on Netflix, and I would recommend giving it a look for sure.
I'm kind of noticing that trend too, where there's a lot of movies that we're talking about where really solid performances just found inside of average, mediocre movies.
Yeah, yeah. This was an interesting year for performances. I thought there were a lot of really great performances this year.
Another one I saw is Snowy Bing Bongs Across the North Star Combat Zone.
Yeah, I gave this a look too.
That's a fun title to say.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Um,
just saying "snowy bing bongs" alone makes it fun.
I I'm essentially finding excuses to say Bing Bongs,
Mm-hmm.
and especially snowy Bing Bongs. I don't know. There's just something about adding the snowy to the Bing Bongs.
Wasn't that the name of the character in uh
Bing Bong.
Inside Out?
I think you might be right.
Bing Bong? I'm
'Cause
pretty sure that was the name of the character in Inside Out. The imaginary friend.
Because I think it is. Because I kept wondering, well, like, why does Bing Bong sound familiar to me? Yeah, that's him.
This has nothing to do with that, by the way.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with Richard Kind's Bing Bong elephant, whatever he is. Uh, Snowy Bing Bongs, as you can kind of guess or imagine from the title, it's ridiculous. It's just absolutely absurd. And it's just 40 minutes of just outright ridiculous.
Just random. It's almost like it's structured sort of like a sketch show where you just have these not really like very loosely connected vignettes that sort of just happen one by one.
So you have like each it's a Cocoon Central, dance team, 3 women. So each one gets like their own little black and white vignette, and then you have the through line of that is, I guess they're the Bing Bongs. I don't know if they are or not.
Well, they are. I think they are because there was that one sequence where they did the performance and then they had the Q&A afterwards. So I think that's what it is.
Where they have their weird, like a white fur rug get up thingy that they dance in. Yeah. And then also at other times they exist as animated, I don't know, sheep eating crystal. I don't know. It's just a lot of ridiculousness going on here. But the one thing that I did, and I'll always appreciate this, is just the ridiculous, the creativity, the DIY, production design to it, which I thought was fantastic.
I enjoyed it.
The animation and the solar systems, and the wherever they're living with all the fluffy, I guess, snow and beach balls. There's the whole thing with beach balls are attacking them. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah,
they're under attack by beach balls.
I'm not sure how it fits in with the scene that happens earlier in the film where the 3 of them are kind of like sunbathing.
Yeah, because that had beach balls. So I don't
And
know if that threw them back into the Ice Age.
right, that's what I'm wondering. Like if that's what they were before, and then the beach balls hit, and then that turned their planet into a
Could
snowy
very well
one.
be. Could very well be. They were facing extinction almost. Got thrust back into the Ice Age. They're now snowy ping pong. I don't know. I know is it's just absurd.
So they were regular Bing Bongs first, and then after the Ice Age hit, they were the snowy Bing
Yeah,
Bongs.
yes. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Think.
It's an interesting watch. I'll give it. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I will definitely second the interesting, and that's a hard emphasis on the interesting.
Yeah,
I also
it's
found it enjoyable. I thought it was a fun watch, 40 minute, and it's been the kind of a like for me, the this year is in terms of like comedies, just the outright absurd comedies. There's been like nothing. There's just not a lot of comedies this year. It doesn't seem like.
no. There's not a lot of comedies. Period. I mean,
Yeah,
you have Silvio. You have, I mean, The Disaster Artist, which I enjoyed, which not is not that
yeah,
absurdist really, but
no. But this was just like we're having a good time. We're just gonna be off the wall, humorous for 40 minutes, and it was just kind of refreshing to get that.
there were a number of there weren't a lot of comedies, but the ones that came out I thought there were some really creative ones, like Brigsby Bear, for instance. I thought was that was like a creative
Yeah.
comedy. You don't
Okay.
have your typical kind of Judd Apatow style comedies, and just you had some of those, but it wasn't like an onslaught.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Need more of that. More of those DIY creativity comedies.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dave Made a Maze might qualify as one of those.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in that vein.
At any rate, Snowy Bing Bongs is available on. It's for free. It's on what site is that?
Topic.
Topic.
Which I've never heard of before.
Yeah, it's on Topic, so you can check it out. We have a link to that on the site, so if you just head over to the site, there'll be a link to it on there. I saw a documentary called Voyeur.
Okay.
This is
This
a
sounds-
Netflix. It's a Netflix documentary about the this famous journalist named Gay Talese. He was working on this story for the last 40 years. So 40 years ago, he received a letter from this guy who said that he owned this motel in Colorado. And when he bought the motel, he installed a platform that went above every room in the motel, and he had vents put in so that he could secretly go into this sort of crawl space in the attic and spy on every guest at the hotel.
Okay.
And what he did was he did that, and he kept these sort of meticulous journals about everything that he saw in his time at this motel, which he owned for like decades. And the documentary is about the fact that the guy reached out to Gay Talese and said, it's been 40 years. I'm ready to come forward. I'm ready to like have my name be printed and have this information be printed. So basically they decide to write a book, and they have a deal with the New Yorker. There's going to be a piece in the New Yorker about it. And this whole story is going to like come out, and he's going to be exposed. And so the documentary follows Gay Talese putting together the story, but it also follows the guy. His name's Gerald Foos. and sort of they interview him, but it's also just kind of follows him around as he sort of mentally prepares for this story to drop. And it goes to some really interesting places. You find out that maybe some of the things that he said weren't necessarily true. Maybe he fibbed on some of the facts, and it calls a lot of things into question. And it's really interesting. The motel's not there anymore, so they weren't really able to like shoot B-roll or anything at the motel. So what they did was they actually built scale models of the hotel or the motel. And I don't know who they got to do it, but it was like incredibly detailed. So they used these like super detailed scale models of this motel to sort of give us a visual, and that was a great decision. On the other hand, the film itself, not great. I was just like, okay, There were moments where the filmmakers would sort of confront either Gerald or Gay Talese about some things, but being a journalist for decades, he would just sort of shut things down and not allow anything to be pushed further. So there were like a lot of things where, as I was watching it, I was feeling like, I feel like the filmmaker should be pushing harder on this, or trying to get some more answers, or like not accept some of the answers that are being given. But it was still a pretty interesting watch nonetheless. Again, that's called Voyeur, and that's on Netflix. Okay, I'll just mention one more. This is also on Netflix, and it's called Nocturama.
Oh, I've been wanting to see this one.
Yeah, so this is a French film directed by Bertrand Bonello. It's about a group of sort of disaffected youths that decide to carry out a terrorist attack on Paris. And they do. It's not a spoiler to say that they do it. They set off bombs in Paris, and the bulk of the film is really sort of two sections. One is them carrying out the plan, and the second is them hiding out in a closed department store, waiting for the heat to cool down until they can go home. And man, this movie, it's fantastic. At first, I thought that the whole movie was going to be them just carrying out this plan, because it's long. Like it follows them every step of the way. And it's so interesting because the film is presented completely out of order. So you have to be paying attention to the time. Like, it'll show the time up on the screen. So like they'll show, because it's a bunch of characters. It's like, what, maybe 8 characters? And so they're all doing things simultaneously. So they'll cut, so it'll be like 2:30, and they'll show what 2 people are doing. And then it'll cut to it'll still be 2:30, and this other character will be doing something. And then they'll show something that happens a little bit later, but then they'll cut back to 2:30 and show what these other people are doing during that time. So it's got a really interesting structure about it. Even when they're hiding out in the department store, it's like a huge department store. It's got like multiple levels. And after they all meet up there, they sort of split up. And during this time when they're waiting, they have to wait there for like 10 hours or something. Or probably even longer. I think it was like 12 hours. It does the same thing where it'll sort of rewind time, and then we see what this other character's up to during these moments. So everything is very meticulous as far as the timing of the film. And as far as like editing goes, it was pretty impressive to see how this was all, because there's certain scenes where other characters are in the background doing the same thing that you saw them do previously. You know what I mean? So like they'll be doing their thing. We already saw that, but then now we're spending time with this other character. And it was just really impressive. It drags. There are a few moments after they get to the department store where it definitely drags, and you're just like, all right, something needs to happen here, because they're just hanging around doing nothing. It's sort of like turns into Dawn of the Dead, where they're just playing around in a department store, trying on clothes and eating food and like drinking and playing music and dancing and stuff, and it's just like really nothing's going on.
Yeah. And
you start to feel it, but it does pick up quite a bit after that. And the planning part of it, or like them, because it does flash back also, so that you do see them sort of planning it. Although one interesting thing is they never really say why they're doing this. Like the movie starts with them carrying out the plot, and then it will sometimes jump all the way back to before they make this plan, like when they're first meeting up. So it's really interesting in that regard. But I love the amount of time that they spent on following them as they were carrying out this plan, because it's so long. And I thought to myself, like, I kind of hope the whole movie is just them doing this, because I think that'd be an interesting idea for a movie where it's just straight like 2 hours of them carrying out a plan. Because I saw Logan Lucky also this week, and I was thinking the same thing. Like, I'd like to see a movie where the whole thing is just them carrying out a plan
in real time.
Yeah,
real time, just doing the plan. Someone's going to do it.
This is almost in real time, the way that they do things. It's really something. But anyway, I would highly recommend. It's called Nocturama, and it's on Netflix Instant, so you can give it a look, and it is definitely going to be well worth your time. I know that one of our writers, Ken, it's his number one movie of the year. Okay. And I'm pretty sure he said that there's not going to be anything that's going to be able to knock it down. So it's quite impressive.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
That's on my catch-up list.
Yeah, I think you should definitely put it on your catch-up list, because I was surprised at how much I really enjoyed that one. And it looks awesome too. Shot on film, looks gorgeous. All right, let's move on and talk about some of what's coming out in theaters this week. Really, just one big one. We got Star Wars The Last Jedi coming out this week.
Oh, shit.
Are you pumped? Are you excited?
I didn't know that was... I thought that was later.
No. Nope.
That's this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready.
You saw the last one, didn't you? Did you see The Force Awakens?
I did. So I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah, some early buzz has been hitting the social medias on this one. People are saying that it's incredible. It's like one of the best Star Wars movies ever. I've been trying to avoid a lot of the talk, because I want to go into it as cold as possible. But I'm beyond excited for this one. Speaking of which, just today, we're recording this on Sunday, they released a new trailer for Ready Player One today. Mm-hmm. Man, that movie looks bad.
Does it?
Oh, boy. Like, the first trailer that they released, I was a little hesitant. I was like, I don't know about this one. And so they released a new one today, and it does not look good. And I was a big fan of the book. I don't know, man. All right, also in theaters this week we have Ferdinand. It's an animated movie that got a couple emails about it, but I have literally seen no trailers or anything for it, so I'm not sure about that. Gotti was supposed to come out this weekend, but I read that was pulled, so don't expect to see that one.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with that. The Ballad of Lefty Brown is coming out. That's that Western with Bill Pullman. Doesn't look great. Beyond Skyline is coming out. Now, this is an interesting one. So, we had Ryan watch Skyline quite a while ago for Ryan Watches a Movie. I don't know if you remember the original one. It was sort of this like kind of bad sci-fi movie. It looked dreadfully average. But this one sort of interests me because it stars Frank Grillo, who I like him. But it co-stars Iko Uwais from The Raid. And from what I understand, it takes place in Southeast Asia. And it's like a lot different than the first Skyline. Like this one is more of this kind of bloody action horror movie. So I'm actually kind of interested in this one. I guess I might have to see the first Skyline. I never saw the original one.
Nah, do it without seeing it.
I probably could, and I very well may. We also have Bird Boy, The Forgotten Children. It's an animated one. Seems like something you'd be into.
The odd looking. It does kind of look like my jam.
Yeah.
Hey, jumping to conclusions. Judging a book by its cover.
Oh, it definitely looks like your kind of art style.
Yeah. Now I might be watching Bird Boy, The Forgotten Children. Jesus. What a turn. What a turn.
We also have Permanent. It's a comedy starring Patricia Arquette and Rainn Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look very good. Desolation, that's a horror movie that for some reason I thought that came out a really long time ago. I'm not sure what's up with that. It's not very good and I wouldn't recommend it. And Wormwood. That's the Errol Morris documentary, which I will be giving that a look. Yeah, that's a 6-parter. So strap in for that one, folks.
All right. Netflix. All right.
Yeah. So VOD this week we have Wormwood. That'll be on Netflix. So give it a look. We got Love and Saucers. This comes out on the 12th. That's a documentary about some guy who claims to have been abducted by aliens on multiple occasions. And I guess fell in love with one of them and had sex with one of them.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. We also have Permanent, which is that's the one with Patricia Arquette. That I said the name. I said the name literally like 2 minutes ago, and I already forgot. I'm like, oh, Permanent. What's that? It's literally the movie I just mentioned. Blu-ray this week we have Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I still haven't seen that. I'll have to give that a look. Detroit.
I forgot all about that movie.
Yeah. It came out the end of last year, didn't it?
No, that was this year.
What?
Yeah, that came out in like August too.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Luke Cage, the complete first season, is going to be out on Blu-ray. House from 1985. Arrow's putting that out. I'm a big fan of the House series, so go check that out. Not the Japanese one.
No, I feel like we've done this like 3 or 4 times.
The House one movies. Yeah, I feel like that movie gets released a lot.
Because I'm pretty sure this is like deja vu. Because I'm usually like, is it the Jap? And you're like, nope, it's not the Japanese one. It's more
Yeah, I remember having, yes. Well, House 2, the second story, also comes out. Arrow's releasing that. We have Home Again. That's the one with Reese Witherspoon. Looks pretty bad. The Trip to Spain, which I didn't talk about on the show. I saw that a couple weeks back, and it's decent. If you're into the trip and the trip to Italy, I think you'll enjoy the trip to Spain because it's the exact same. It's more the same.
Yeah.
England Is Mine. I think that's the biopic about Morrissey. I think that's the one. Is that the one? Yeah.
Okay.
I heard that wasn't very good. We have a review for that up. That's pretty much it. What do we have on Criterion this week?
Yo, we got 3 of them. All right. So we got the big box set, which is the Complete Monterey Pop Festival, coming out on the Blu-ray. So 3 discer in all of them. What else we got? We got Election, 1999's Election from Alexander Payne, Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon.
Great movie.
And we also, I'm gonna have to revisit that one. It's been ages since I've seen it. And then the documentary General Idi Amin Dada, a self-portrait from 1974, which is getting a re-release on the Blu-ray.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. If you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse. Consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.